Hey, what up, everybody? Sorry, I had to do the live stream again because the live stream that I just did not work. I used this program called OBS, and I connected it with the streamer on YouTube. It failed, so I'm doing it again here. The live review of Star Wars: The Clone Wars latest episode. Back to using StreamYard. Another program that I'm considering to jump ship to is Ecamm Live. I'm still learning it as I go, so I can't really um, fully go on that yet until I master it. But hopefully, Ecamm Live would be much easier to use, and I hope it doesn't get stuck in the processing. That was the problem. The streamer just was not the streamer just was not available for the public to enjoy. It just got stuck there in the processing, and it was like I waited and waited and waited. It's like this is not working. So anyway, I digress. I'm redoing my review of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, season 7, episode 3, on the wings of the Keeradaks. Basically, I'm just gonna go through the same bullet points that I had on my notes. So first of all, of course, as you know, last week the episode left off with the discovery of Echo. It was Tech and Rex that found Echo, and then of course the rest of the guys, including General Skywalker. They were battling droids. Tambor's droid. And so fast forward to today, they're still there with Tambor's droids just like closing in on them, just giving them a hard time. But Echo, he's got all these plugs on him, and I gotta tell you, it's watching a character or anybody with like these outlet holes on them makes me kind of squeamish. I was like cringing a little bit. That's the same feeling I felt when I watched The Matrix. Remember that when Neo and all the other guys got plugged into, because they took the red pill, they wanted to see the reality, and then they woke up, and then of course when they go back to the Matrix, you gotta get hooked into it or plugged into again. It just um, but it's good. It's good to see Arc Trooper Echo. Um, Another thing I have on my note is I want to comment about Wrecker. I think that's his name. Is it Wrecker or Wreck? The muscle of the Bad Batch, the big guy. Um, Usually when you have somebody that's like B.A. Baracus of the A team, right? The guy, he's a brawn. That means he's not the brain. That means he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I gotta give him credit, man. He come up with that idea like in a split second. It's like, oh my god, we gotta get you to that vent, and then of course he just throws people up there, including Rex. It's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? A heads up would be nice. Of course, General Skywalker did not really need that help because it's like, hey, I got the Force in me, man. I got the Force. I'm a Jedi Master. I can do this myself. Um, but yeah, kudos, man. Credit where credit is due. The same thing happens also nearing the end of the end of the episode where another battle happens, and Wreck um throws Rex again and all the other guys like let's get you up on this. Oh, so good. I think he himself knows that he's a simple guy, that he's just there because he's got the strength, he's got the super strength. um so he knows his function in the team, he knows his asset, his skill set, but it doesn't mean that he can't come up with an idea. And the fact that he did, it was, yeah, it was credit where credit is due. Um, it must be nice to be General Skywalker, though. Even the Bad Batch, by the end of the episode, you heard Hunter said, "God, we can't defeat a Jedi. Like nothing beats a Jedi, and it's true. You see like General Skywalker just like effortlessly, float himself up, or like he flies onto one point to the next while battling the droids. It's so elegant. He looks like a freaking dancer, floating in the wind with lightsaber in the hand. It's so cool. I grew up, believing that Superman has the best superpowers of all the superheroes. But I also admit that in a battle between a Jedi and Superman would probably lose. Okay, now Superman could still kick Batman's ass. So between Superman and Batman, Superman will always win. But Superman with Jedi, I think Jedi can definitely wipe the floor with Superman. So another thing also, I want to point out that that scene where they are walking across, I guess you can call it the bridge to get to the other side, and then they get stuck in the middle because on each end the enemies are there, and they're also approaching. I don't have particularly a fear of heights. I do to a certain degree, but it's not like a serious phobia. You know what I'm saying? Some people like really, really are afraid of heights. And well, I've done skydiving, I've done bungee jumping. I kid you not. You could see the photos on my Instagram. That's how I deal. That's how I guess, yeah, that's how I deal with my fear of heights. Just like, you know what? Let me just, we're all gonna die anyway. Let me just face my fear, and smile at it. kind of like Maximus and in Gladiator. But anyway, I digress. So, but watching that scene in today's episode, oh man, my hands kind of and my palms, my sweating, man, sweating. It was the same thing I felt when I watched that Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie a few years ago. He played that character that walks from one World Trade Center tower to the next. I was like on a wire. I was like, oh no. Oh, I was just like, no, don't fall, don't fall. But I remember that is a necessary part of, or necessary ingredient of, any adventure movie or show. In this case it's a show, where they would have the characters kind of have to defy, not necessarily gravity, but defy heights. There's always a scene like that. For example, last year, the animated movie, the claymation movie by Laika, Missing Link, they have that one scene in the Tibet. And also, of course, Jumanji 2 this past Christmas, where the characters jump from one ropey bridge to the next, otherwise they fall to their death. Or Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that's another example too, with that bridge. So yeah, if you want to create, as a writer, you want to create a scenario in which your protagonist would be cornered somewhere by the antagonist, you would be wise to include there a setting where the protagonist could or might fall off the cliff, or might fall off the bridge, or there's got to be heights included in there. That's a part of any adventure stuff. And today's episode is still just like previous episodes, is still action packed, but it's also adventure because of the flying on the Keeradaks, which is like as you know, the creature that looks like freaking a cross between pterodactyl and banshee from Avatar. And of course the bridge. So yeah, there's the battle. There's an all-out war in the end. That's so awesome. Of course, we expect nothing less from this show. But there's also adventure stuff that's going on also in this episode that makes you, that just excite you, that just thrill you, that keeps you on the edge of your seat. So kudos, man, kudos. Another fantastic episode, and I'll end on two notes. First of all, maybe it's just me, but I think that shot at the end where just closing up on Echo's face. It looks like he's hiding something. It looks like he's up to no good, man. He looks like he has an agenda up his sleeve. Maybe I'm just theorizing. Maybe he's corrupted. Maybe he's all hooked up in that tube. Affect him somehow. So, um, I am just speculating. I don't know at the moment. But that part was like dum dum dum. It's like, oh, what's going on there? Uh, and the last or the final note, um, man, it's so good, right? It's so good as a fan, you and I as fans. It's so good that we are alive today in this day and age because yesterday, every Thursday we have Star Trek Picard, right? Star Trek Picard. Every Friday we have Star Wars The Clone Wars. How lucky are we, man? Especially if you are fans of both franchises. I mean, this could only be made more awesome if how Amazon is bringing us the Lord of the Rings series. They're still in development, not development. I think they're probably already in production, but they're bringing the show. So like, oh, it would be so awesome if it's like Thursday Star Trek Picard, Friday is Star Trek. I'm sorry, Thursday is Star Trek Picard, Friday is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Saturday is Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, and then of course we end with Sunday, The Walking Dead on AMC. Oh, so good, so good. So we should really consider ourselves very, very fortunate to be geeking out in this day and age at this point in our lives. So that's it. Those are the notes that I have. Very brief, very short, appropriately so because the episodes themselves on this show, each of them is about what 20 minutes long, so 20 minutes short, as you say. So very, very, very justifiable that I end right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell, and if you can help support me, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.